For me to talk about No by Boris is going to be difficult because I'm coming in with a very biased and one-sided opinion on the matter, and that is the fact that I am an unapologetic, huge Boris fan. And it's finally refreshing to see that there's a lot of other people besides me actually enjoying this album and saying that it's one of their best in over a decade. But why this album in particular? Well, let's look at Boris in the 2010s. For a band that was praised early on for being eclectic and diverse as they are, the moment that everyone thought that they jumped the shark was when they decided to really switch up their sound and make a straight-up pop album. They also released something that kinda pleased their fans with heavy rocks, and as fine as that album was, there was definitely something lacking, especially compared to the 2002 release of the same name. What followed suit were Boris becoming arguably softer, with the criminally underrated and underappreciated Praparat and the not at all noisy noise. Boris's fling with atmospheric post-rock, post-metal soundscapes weren't critical darlings by any means. After a successful anniversary tour of Pink, one of their most critically acclaimed albums and one where most US audiences started with as a gateway to the wild, wild world of Boris, they ended up feeling rather rejuvenated. So what we've got so far with the rejuvenated Boris prior to No were Dear, which was supposed to be their last album before realizing, wait, holy shit, people still love us, and Love and Evil. These albums to me find this sweet spot of what Boris were trying to do in the 2010s with their more atmospheric post-metal approach, combining with the sludge, stoner, and drone metal influences that people were accustomed to during their heyday. And I really enjoyed them, which is probably no surprise to anyone because, like I said, I really love Boris. But it feels like the general consensus thought that these albums were just okay at best compared to, once again, their behemoth run in the late 90s to the mid-2000s. That they appreciated them trying, but felt that this was probably the best that we'll get from them, and that Boris are now way past their prime. And now, here comes No. What people want, especially in these trying times, is something heavy and noisy, something with anger and passion to get them through the day. Though it's not as chaotic as Pink, and it's honestly a hell of a lot more accessible compared to their other notable attempt at punk with Vain, what you end up getting with this album is the tired old trope that every band under the sun has said once in their lifetime: we're going back to our roots. Boris's undying old love for hardcore punk and sludge shine through in this album more than any of their 2010 albums. Most notably, their atmospheric sounds that were present in their 2010 run have been ditched in favor of pure punk chaos. In fact, the only remnant of their 2010 run in this album is actually my favorite song on this album, Perforation Line, which is a re-recorded version of the song Off of Praparat. Of course, there's also Interlude, which, besides being one of the most tongue-in-cheek track names ever, having it being the closing track, is really more reminiscent of their psychedelic tracks with Michio Kurihara. But what you have overall is the sound of Boris parading around as bitter and old punks. The amount of energy that's being driven in each of these songs are some of the most heaviest tunes in quite some time. It's notable in tracks like Zerkalo, where behind a wall of disgusting guitar tones are these anguished and rage-filled screams. This is the Boris that some people have been wanting and waiting since Smile. To go back to their last track, Interlude, there is some rather obvious symbolism to that title. This is by far not the last time we'll ever hear from Boris. Knowing the band, they'll probably release like 2 EPs and a new album within the next year. But they're also rather unpredictable, which is why I love this band so much. No other band can go from stoner rock to drone metal to J-pop to post-rock in the drop of a hat unlike them. But it's been clear since 2017 when Dear was released that Boris still has something left in the tank. However, it's now come apparent that they have a hell of a lot more left in their tank that people actually expected. And this is their way to tell everyone, we're still here and we're still gonna kick some ass. Maybe they'll release another album with drone noise experiments like the Solomon Trilogy or another post-rock J-pop album. Whatever they do in the future, this album will be a reminder to never doubt whatever tricks that they still have up their sleeves, that they still have a lot more heavy rock tunes to crank out. Boris is pretty cool.